What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. Alright guys, so we are going to continue our coverage over the Battle of the Cowl storyline. Now remember, this was a Batman event that took place right after Final Crisis. Because remember, back in Final Crisis, matter of fact, at the very end of Final Crisis, we actually saw the death of Batman, which was very huge. Now, the heroes were able to win in Final Crisis, but then here comes the next problem. What happens to Gotham without their protector? And so we're covering the Battle of the Cowl storyline, which is basically the storyline that tells us who is going to be the next Batman. Now we are covering the tie-ins and also the main series as well to kind of get the full story of Battle of the Cowl. Now in today's video, we're going to cover 3 one-shots that are all tie-ins to the Battle of the Cowl storyline. The first one is Arkham Asylum, then we have the Underground, and then last but not least, the Network. And all 3 one-shots are telling different stories, but they all are kind of important when it comes to Batman comics down the road. We're going to jump into the Arkham Asylum one-shot first. Now with that being said, when it comes to this one-shot right here, we actually follow Jeremiah Arkham. Now, Jeremiah Arkham, of course, is the person in charge of Arkham Asylum. Now, if you're new to Batman comics and you have no idea what Arkham Asylum is, Arkham Asylum was basically the prison that was holding the different bad guys that Batman would capture and hopefully sent them there to kind of get cured. Because again, when it comes to all bad guys of Batman, they're all kind of insane. And so they get sent to Arkham Asylum to hopefully get fixed, to hopefully regain their sanity. Now the problem is though, when you have Jeremiah Arkham coming back to Arkham Asylum, it does take place after the first chapter in the main storyline, Battle of the Cowl. And the reason why I'm saying that, because Black Mask has showed up and basically blew up Arkham Asylum. And so you have Jeremiah Arkham right now coming home to his building and realizing that his facility has been blown up. All the different bad guys that were being held in that facility have been set free to basically bring chaos to Gotham. And so right now it's Jeremiah Arkham kind of feeling like a failure. And the reason why, because over the years, he had a lot of different characters come into that building, but unfortunately, he was unable to actually cure any of them at all. And even though they're all gone right now, those memories of those criminals just making fun of him because they all know there's no way he'll be able to cure them and bring back their sanity, it just haunts his mind so much because now he feels like a big, huge failure. Now, when it comes to Jeremiah Arkham, he has been gone for a short period of time, and the reason why, because he was actually part of the Grant Morrison Black Glove storyline, and the Black Glove organization actually took over Arkham Asylum and kicked out Jeremiah, and so this is him coming back after all of that, but also after Black Mask had blew up Arkham Asylum. Now, you do have Jeremiah Arkham actually think about some of the characters that came into Arkham Asylum, but they were held in solitary confinement. Now, those characters, when it came to Jeremiah Arkham, he felt some kind of connection to those characters because those characters were unable to actually mingle with the other criminals or other people who were basically part of Arkham Asylum. And so these 3 particular characters were held in solitary confinement, and you have the book kind of give us the rundown on each of those characters to kind of show how those characters are actually important to Jeremiah Arkham. Now, the first character you have Jeremiah Arkham actually think about is Alicio. Now, Alicio is actually going to be a character known as No-Face down the road later on in Detective Comics. Now, when it comes to Alicio, his origin is kind of messed up. And what I mean by that is he does come from a very wealthy family. His father did very well in life. Now, when it came to his mother, though, she was really more big in art. And really, she loved to collect masks. Now, here's the thing. When she looked at the masks that she had collected over the years, those masks to her were very beautiful. But when it came to Alicio, he kind of realized to himself that to his mom's eyes, he's not beautiful. And so what he did was he took one of her masks and basically tried to wear it, because in his eyes, if he does wear a mask, he'll look beautiful in his mom's eyes. Now, he did put adhesive in the mask to make sure that it stays on his face. The problem is, though, his dad was very upset with the idea that he basically took one of his mother's masks and put it on his face, not knowing that his son had put adhesive in the mask to make sure the mask stays on his face. And so when you had his father try to pull off the mask, of course, it ripped a lot of pieces off his face. And of course, it did some serious damage to Alicio's face. And so when the plastic surgeons would come by, unfortunately, they couldn't do much to fix his face. And so with that, he's called No Face, because he's able to actually paint different kind of emotions on his face to kind of show how he actually feels. But for Jeremiah, they were able to build some kind of connection with one another. Now, the next character that we are going to talk about is a guy known as Narcissus or Mirror Man. Now, Jeremiah does tell us that when it comes to Narcissus or Mirror Man, there's not much we can actually tell about his origin. The only things we do know is this right here. Years ago, the guy actually walked out of a forest one day in Hades. And of course, when he walked out, he was naked. Now, when people try to talk to him, unfortunately, he spoke a language that no one actually knew. Now, he was brought over to Arkham. And of course, when he saw his reflection, he just began to adore himself even more. And the reason why, because there's different parts of his body that are very different that you're not going to find on any other human on the planet Earth. And so for Jeremiah, he's kind of like, I feel like Mirror Man or Narcissus here is basically just some kind of alien that had crashed on Earth. And when he saw his reflection, he realized that he's never going to find anybody else on Earth who is going to adore him like he does himself. And so that is the Mirror Man. Now, the last one you have Jeremiah actually think about is the Hamburger Lady. Now, the Hamburger Lady is one again kind of like Mirror Man, where we actually don't learn much about her origin. The only thing we do know about her is that her face is very disfigured, thanks to a couple incidents that she had actually went through. But when it comes to the Hamburger Lady, apparently when most people actually look at her face, they get driven insane. And so apparently no one has ever seen her face in a very long time, because she stays in her room in the dark. Now, when Jeremiah looks at her face, he's kind of like, I don't see anything wrong. Instead, he sees something special inside of her. And that right there shows the connection that he had with the Hamburger Lady. Now, you didn't have Jeremiah actually think about another incident in the past where apparently he went into his office one day. And when he did, he saw a message that was basically painted on his mirror. But on top of that, he saw some newspaper clippings. Now, those clippings were apparently someone left in his office, but originally they were trying to burn it away. But for some strange reason, they want to keep these two pieces from not getting burned with the rest of the newspaper that they have actually come to kind of give Jeremiah a message. Now, Jeremiah does see some kind of department that is behind the mirror in his office. And when he opens it up, he finds some kind of blueprint. And he believes that this blueprint was actually left behind by his uncle to make an even better Arkham Asylum. And so this is Jeremiah telling himself, I am going to make an even better Arkham Asylum just for you, uncle. Now remember, that memory right there also took place in the past, like he was thinking about the 3 different inmates he had close connections with. Now, you do have Jeremiah Arkham kind of tell us that after he found that blueprint, that was when you had the Black Glove group come in and basically kick him out of Arkham Asylum. But when he woke up after being kicked out of Arkham Asylum, he saw that a lot of different things have happened, starting off with the idea that Bruce Wayne and Batman are both dead right now, supposedly. Gotham has riots happening left and right, but when he got to Arkham Asylum, his facility that was given to him by his uncle, he sees that it was blown up. And so this is him kind of like, what happened? Like, I've been gone for a short period of time. Batman's dead. Bruce Wayne's dead. My home is blown up. My inmates are gone. But what about my 3 special inmates? My 3 special patients? And so you do have Jeremiah Arkham go to the same place where they were kept at. And when he got down there, he found them. And to Jeremiah, he's kind of like, listen, as long as I have these 3 inmates, these 3 patients of mine, who I have built some kind of powerful connections with, I'll be okay. I'll be able to rebuild a better Arkham. But I'm got to make sure I take care of these 3 guys. Now, at the very end of this one shot, you do have No-Face painting something on his face to show an emotion that he's having right now, where it seems like he's happy, but it's a very evil kind of happy. And now we're kind of left to wonder, is this guy right here going to be a bad guy down the road? And so getting into Battle of the Cowl, the Underground, we actually do pick up with the Riddler. Now, before we actually jump into the storyline with the Riddler, we actually pick up with opening pages that kind of doing what the same thing the other books do as well, by kind of giving us a quick rundown of how bad Gotham has gotten ever since the death of Batman. But when we actually pick up with the Riddler, he's in his office right now talking to the Penguin. Now, this is the Penguin coming to Riddler saying, hey man, listen, I have a job for you. And that job right now is, I need you to kill off Black Mask. Because remember, right now in the Battle of the Cowl main storyline, Black Mask is trying to basically have a war between Two-Face and the Penguin happen in Gotham. And so with that war possibly coming very soon, you have basically Penguin saying, I need you right now to kill off Black Mask before the war between me and Two-Face gets even worse. Now, with that being said, you also have the Penguin kind of hint that with the Black Mask being back in Gotham, that should not be possible. And the reason why, because Black Mask, the first one, had actually died, which means that we have someone out there right now who is pretending to be the new Black Mask. The question is though, who? Who is the new Black Mask? Either way, it's Penguin saying, I want you to kill off this new Black Mask before things get even crazier for my organization, but also for Gotham as well. Now, as the Riddler does leave his office, he does run into Harley Quinn. Now, this is Harley Quinn just kind of tagging along with the Riddler, but at the same time, she's going to be somewhat important because we're going to use her to kind of meet other characters who are going to be somewhat important for the end of this storyline, actually. But then we actually pick up with Two-Face. Now remember, Two-Face, kind of like the Penguin, is trying to control Gotham. Matter of fact, they're the top 2 characters right now who are trying to control Gotham, and it's Black Mask who's trying to get rid of both of them. Now, with that being said, you do have Two-Face kind of realize that with everything happening recently in Gotham, there's just complete chaos, which Two-Face doesn't like. And what I mean by that is Two-Face is okay with a little bit of chaos, not a lot. He feels like Gotham needs order. And so when he sees chaos happening across Gotham, he's not okay with it. But then that is the moment he's confronted by Selina Kyle, Catwoman. Now remember, at this point in DC Comics, she's a good guy. Like, she's actually part of the Bat family. And so she's trying to help protect Gotham like Nightwing does and Tim Drake does. And so this is her trying to capture Two-Face. Now, after a few more pages of these 2 characters kind of going back and forth, you do have Two-Face being able to actually get away. But when he does get away, you do have Selina Kyle kind of think about Bruce Wayne and realize that she's only really doing this for the man she used to love, who's not even around anymore, but at the same time though, she still cares for him, even though he's not around. And so with him being dead, it's kind of like, I want to live up to his legacy. I want to make him proud, because if he's in heaven looking down at me, then I want to show him that what he has done to me in my life has changed me. And so she's trying to be a better person for Bruce Wayne, even though we know he's not actually dead. It's just DC Comics pretending that he is dead. And then we actually pick up with some villains that are actually working for Black Mask, which is Poison Ivy, Firefly, and Killer Croc. Now, of course, right now you do kind of have them attacking more facilities that possibly belongs to the Penguin or Two-Face. Now, while you had these guys doing that and they're trying to leave, you do have basically Firefly tell Poison Ivy that she needs to get back in line, because it seems like Poison Ivy is trying to break away from Black Mask's control. But the thing is though, we have to remember, back in Battle of the Cowl #1, Black Mask had basically injected something into all the different bad guys' bodies to make sure they follow his orders, because if they don't, they can die so easily. And so right now, you have Firefly reminding her, you have to stay and work for us, or work for Black Mask, because if you don't, you will die. But this is Poison Ivy beginning the process of finding a way to kind of get rid of the toxins in her body. But then we actually pick up with the Penguin. Now, when we do, we actually see the Penguin right now kind of just minding his business, driving around Gotham. He does have other cars following him as a way to protect him. But while he is minding his business, that is the moment he is attacked by Firefly. And like I said earlier, Firefly is working for Black Mask, and so Firefly's next mission was to basically kill off the Penguin. Now, luckily for the Penguin, you have Selina Kyle coming in once again to save the Penguin's life. Now, the Penguin is very confused because he remembers Selina Kyle. He's kind of like, yeah, she's a thief, she's a bad guy. But because by this point in DC Comics, she was no longer a bad guy. She was a good guy, thanks to Batman kind of changing her, but also because they fell in love with one another. And so once again, this is her trying to stop Firefly from killing the Penguin. Because again, she's trying to live up to Bruce Wayne's legacy, trying to show Bruce Wayne that what he did to her was actually good. He's actually has changed her, that she is going to be a better person than she was originally. And so she's able to save the Penguin's life. But then she realized she sees something. And what she saw was Black Mask. And this is huge because she remembers Black Mask being killed off. And so when she sees in the smoke, oh my gosh, there's Black Mask, it should not be even possible because she killed off Black Mask. So how in the world is this man alive again if he was killed off by Selina Kyle? And so this is her wondering two things. One, did the old Black Mask come back? Or two, do we have a new Black Mask running around Gotham at the moment? But then we actually pick up with Holly Robinson. Now, Holly Robinson was actually a close friend to Selina Kyle, but on top of that, though, she wore the Catwoman outfit for a tad bit. And matter of fact, she was labeled as the one who had actually killed Black Mask, even though we know she was not the one who had actually killed Black Mask. It was Selina Kyle. Either way, though, she is the roommate, it seems, to Harley Quinn. Either way, you have the Riddler and Harley Quinn coming to her to basically find Selina Kyle. Because remember, the Riddler was hired to kill off Black Mask. But he's trying to figure out who is this new Black Mask. Is it the old one or the new one? And so just in case it is the old one, why not go to Holly, then find Selina, who can then kind of help the Riddler find out, is the old Black Mask back or do we have a new one? Now, while you have Harley Quinn, the Riddler, and Holly talking to one another, you have Poison Ivy coming home to the apartment as well. And Poison Ivy wants to kill off the Riddler for some past things that had happened between them. But you have the Riddler say, listen, let's try to kill me later because right now I've been assigned to help kill your boss off. So let's find out who is the new Black Mask all together. But then we actually jump back over to Selina Kyle, where unfortunately she had a run-in with Jason Todd. Now remember, at this point in DC Comics, DC honestly had no idea what to do with Jason Todd after they brought him back to life as Red Hood. And so in this storyline right here, in the Battle of the Cowl storyline, we heard that there was a Batman just running around Gotham, killing people left and right. And it had everybody confused on the idea that, did Batman actually return? And if he did, why is he killing people? Well, it wasn't the real Batman. It wasn't Bruce Wayne. It was actually Jason Todd pretending to be the new Batman of Gotham. And so he has become this kind of crazy gun shooting Batman. And so right now he's fighting against Selina Kyle. Now, when it comes to Selina Kyle, she knows it's not Dick Grayson because she's kind of like, okay, Dick Grayson said he does not want to wear the Batman suit. It can't be Tim Drake because he had on a different Batman suit. And so she's trying to figure out who could this Batman be? Because right now, Jason Todd had altered his voice to kind of sound like Bruce, but she knows it cannot be Bruce. Either way, while you have the two characters fighting against one another, you do have Jason Todd basically kick her off a roof and she does crash on the ground, but she does crash right in front of Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy, and the Riddler. And right now, the four of them are going to work together, figure out, hey, do we have a new Black Mask or an old Black Mask? Now, the last one we are going to talk about is Batman Battle of the Cowl, the Network. Now, this one right here really does focus on the actual system that Oracle had built. Let me explain. So, Oracle, Barbara Gordon, was originally Batgirl. She got shot and paralyzed and became Oracle after the Killing Joke storyline. Now, when she became Oracle, she became the communicator for the team, being able to communicate with every single member of the Bat family to help and make sure that every single mission is successful when it comes to protecting Gotham by giving each member of the Bat family what they need to know when it comes to handling different problems in Gotham. Now, she also built a network. Now, the network is basically a system that gives her and other abilities to actually communicate with other members of the Bat family. So for example, if Batman wants to talk to, let's say, Jason Todd, if he was part of the Bat family, he can do that. If Barbara Gordon wanted to talk to Huntress, she can do that. And so the network kind of helps her communicate with every single person in the Bat family, but to also kind of give directions the Bat family needs when it comes to handling different problems across Gotham. Now, in this one shot right here, they're going to be handling Hugo Strange. And the reason why, because Hugo Strange is trying to basically show off that the new Batman does not deserve the right to become the new Batman. And so what Hugo Strange actually did was he went around and kidnapped 3 people and placed them in 3 different areas of Gotham. Now, he's giving Jason Todd Batman a time limit to be able to actually save the lives of the 3 people that he had kidnapped. Now, the reason why Hugo Strange is doing this because he's trying to prove that this new Batman, Jason Todd Batman, does not deserve the right to be the new Batman of Gotham, to take up the mantle of Batman, because this new Batman is going around Gotham right now just gun blazing. And so this is Hugo saying, if he's unable to actually save the lives of the 3 people I kidnapped in my time limit, then that shows that he should not be the next Batman of Gotham. Now, on top of that, Hugo Strange is right now running some kind of warehouse casino where basically you have people right now betting on what's going to happen if Jason Todd does go out there to save the lives of the 3 people that were kidnapped. Meaning that if one of the 3 victims actually die, then the ones who have betted money on that right there, on that outcome, they'll get money. And so will Hugo Strange. And so this is Hugo saying, I'm hoping that I can do 2 things. 1, prove that this new Batman, Jason Todd, does not deserve to be the new Batman. But 2, I'll also get richer. Now, what Hugo does not know is that when it comes to Barbara Gordon, she had blocked that call out, meaning that she knows the new Batman is Jason Todd. She also knows that Jason Todd at this point in DC Comics is crazy. And so she's kind of like, I blocked that call. There's no way Jason Todd will hear that call. On top of that, at this moment right now, Jason Todd is fighting against Catwoman, as we saw in the last one shot we just covered earlier in this video. And so right now it's Barbara saying that it's time for me to use the network and send all the different heroes out there to save the 3 victims who have been kidnapped by Hugo Strange. Now, the rest of the story is honestly just the different heroes that Oracle is actually able to communicate with and being able to kind of lead them in the right directions to actually be able to save the lives of the 3 people that Hugo Strange had basically kidnapped. And so when I say the rest of the book is that, literally the rest of the book is all that. You do have the heroes being able to find the different kind of victims that Hugo Strange had kidnapped to save their lives, and of course do it in the time limit before Hugo Strange was actually able to win in some kind of way. Now, with all that being done and said, you didn't have Hugo Strange find out that 1, the victims he kidnapped were basically saved, but on top of that, his whole gambling system was also stopped and crashed, thanks to, of course, Oracle as well. And so that was really the only purpose of the network book, to kind of show like, hey, when it comes to the heroes of Gotham, the protectors of Gotham, they have a pretty good, nice network system, thanks to Oracle being the one in charge of the network system. With that being said though, guys, this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So with that being said, I do hope you enjoyed today's comic book video. And if you did, please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, I'll see y'all next time. Later.